Good evening, folks. How are we all doing today? I'm trying something out a little different this evening. It's not something I've done before, but I thought we might give CodeWars a go. With a sort of grander plan to begin right from the beginning at the lowest rank, and just see how far we can rank up. So probably doing kata always at the rank that we're currently at, and then as we level up we go for new kata ranks matching the one that we're currently at, and just see how far we can take it. I'm going to be curious to see how many people are actually around for today, because of course in America it is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to any Americans who stopped by. But I imagine that means we may not get that much audience from America, although I could be totally wrong, and maybe because it's a holiday we'll get even more people than usual from America. Depends what time people are busy, I guess. Excuse me. We'll hang on until hopefully one or two people join chat, and then we'll make a start. I'm hoping someone who's used CodeWars before makes an appearance, because there was one thing I wanted to do with this that I can't find a way of doing, and I may just be missing something on the website. We got some folks. Hey Areshk. Hey Ben. So CodeWars is a programming practice website, I guess. Hey there, Axel. And what it does is it gives you a whole host of coding challenges which describe some kind of input that you're going to receive and some sort of output that they want you to generate based on the input. And there are all various levels, and you as a user have a level that can rank up as you complete challenges. So the idea for me is to kind of gamify it a little bit. I mean, I guess it's already kind of gamified, but I'm going to take that to the extreme and treat this almost like I'm leveling up. So we're going to begin at 8, which is the lowest. You rank downwards to begin with, and we're going to try and get all the way to 1. Certainly not in this stream, but if people like this and I end up doing it again, that's kind of the wider plan. For the other people in chat, has anyone used CodeWars before? Because I have one question for anyone who has, if there's anyone who can give us a hand. Mostly console. I know there is a tag for graphical ones. I'm not quite sure how that works because they're testing your output, but I guess they can test simple graphics. But generally speaking, it's just a console thing, yeah. Because your outputs need to conform to a very specific hidden answer, so that they can test against it and see if you've written it correctly. Well, what I wanted to do, so the rule I'm going to impose, I guess, on myself in this game is to only do kata that are at the level that I'm at. So as soon as I hit level 7, then I start doing level 7 kata, and to use those to rank up. Because I can right now, in theory, go and run a highest level kata. But I'm going to stick with the level that I am at. What I wanted to do though was just get a random kata from this level, and I actually can't find a way of doing it. I even took a look at the API earlier to see if I could get just a list of all kata at a given level and pick one randomly. There doesn't seem to be a way of doing it. You can select random kata. So if I go to the homepage here, I can select a random kata, but they're not necessarily at the right level. And also, I went through a couple randoms to see what would happen, and I also appeared to be getting kata that were like halfway through a series that were making assumptions about ones you'd previously solved and that kind of thing, which is kind of weird. So I was hoping that I'd be able to go to here and just list the 8Q kata and pick one randomly. That doesn't appear to be the case, so maybe we'll just sort by newest and go from there. Because I don't think there's a particularly easy way to randomize this. It's not even like, I mean, I could roll a random number out of 320, I guess, but it's not even, it's doing the infinite scroll thing, which is actually a little annoying. I would like to be able to just go to a page and work out my own random number, but I can't even count which one is the 118th because they're not sorted by page. It just does this forever. So yeah, not 100% sure how to proceed, because I wanted to impose rules to gamify it about how I chose kata, and it doesn't appear to be a good way of doing that I can tell. So yeah, maybe we'll just go from the top. Okay, so we're starting at 8Q. These should be fairly straightforward. But let's see. Alright, so yeah, I got it, thank you. Your goal is to return multiplication table for number that is always an integer from 1 to 10. So this here, this argument, is a whole number between 1 and 10. For example, a multiplication table for 5 looks like this. So they want me to go through the numbers 1 through 10, multiply it by this argument, and give an answer. That seems pretty straightforward. So since we're always going to be looping through the numbers 1 through 10 and multiplying by the number, it's safe to say we can probably start with a loop. So we're going to say wow, I cannot spell. For I in range 10. That would actually be the numbers 0 through 9. So how about we say that? I could say +1 to I inside inside the loop. But in terms of readability, it might look a bit odd why I'm adding 1 to I. Well, I'm in Python. You can choose different languages on the site. Different kata are translated into different languages. So there are challenges for various languages. Some are translated into 30, some have 4 like this. But I'm running in Python. So yeah, actually specifying the bounds might make it a bit more obvious that the whole idea here is that I iterate through 1 to 10. I forget if the second argument is actually the number you're going towards or the count. Let's take a quick look. Should this be 1, 10 or should this be 1, 11? Stop. An integer number specifying the position to stop. So I do want to say 11 because it's not included. Okay. So first off, we need the actual multiplied answer, which would be I times number. So first time round, 1 times 5 would be 5, 2 times 5 would be 10. And then we can print a formatted string, which would be I times number equals multiplied number, and then all of these, because these are all currently integers, need to be string typed. I think that actually might just be it. Let's run it against the test. Nope. Multiplied number is not defined. Once again, I cannot spell. Oh. It's not that I can't spell, it's that I can't remember what words I'm using. Multiplied answer. Okay, so what's the difference between what we're after here? Oh, am I running them too long? Was it only 1 to 9? Oh no, it's 1 to 10. So this is what my answer looks like. Oh no, it's not. That's what it should look like. Non is coming out. Oh, I'm not supposed to be printing it, am I? Supposed to be returning it? Yeah, sure. Okay, so we'll have a variable, which is the entire table. That's just an empty string. And each time we loop through here, we're going to say that the table is equal to itself plus the new line. And then we'll also put in a line break, I guess. So that goes to the next line. And then what we'll do is return table but stripped to remove the trailing line break that we're going to have at the end here. And that passes the shown tests. And it's also passing all of the hidden tests as well. What's a bit weird here is that their instructions are actually not correct. Because they say that we are supposed to return a number that's always an integer from 1 to 10. So this number here is supposed to be from 1 to 10. And then in their tests, they're actually testing against negatives. So if, for example, I said, let's just call it n for now, number equals, I think I can do that and say absolute of n. We should now break the negative tests. Yeah. So we're passing any positives, and then as soon as you get these negative numbers, we're actually breaking it. And that means that they are passing in negative numbers, which the instructions say it's not doing. Unless I'm reading this wrong. Your goal is to return a multiplication table for number that is always an integer from 1 to 10. Now, it could be miswritten, and what they actually mean is you're supposed to multiply it by the numbers 1 through 10. But that's not how it's written. What's written is that this will always be 1 through 10, which it actually isn't. I wonder if I can raise an issue. Because not that this should really affect anyone who's coding it, because your code would have to be really broken for this to not work for negative numbers. Like, there's no reason to ever take an absolute value there. But yeah, I wonder why it's written like that. Okay, so we completed our first kata. You see lots of this kind of answer in the shared solutions for puzzles on this site. And personally, I don't really like the formatting of lines like this in Python. I find this incredibly unreadable. When you look at that, you cannot immediately establish like anything about what's going on. You really have to break this down quite carefully. And to me, the job of the coder should be to break this down for the person reading it, not the other way around. So I don't really like doing this, even though it's kind of cool that you can do it all on one line, I guess. Is there any interest in... Wow, check that out. That is horrible. I guess it works, though. I guess it works. So if I press next kata, what are you actually going to take me to? If it's an 8, I will just go with it. No, it's taking me to 7 again. Sure, whatever. Let's just keep going through the list, I guess. I'm just going to open these in new tabs so I don't have to come back to this page and sort correctly every time. Since, while I'm talking, there is a very small chance, but there is a chance, that someone that interviewed me today, it was going to stop by the stream. I don't know if they were actually planning on doing that, but if you do happen to be around, then welcome to the stream. So function 2, squaring an argument. This looks like it's the second in a series, but it really is just this simple. We just square an argument. Well, done. Not much more to it. I wonder if anyone has an even shorter solution than that. I guess I wonder whether I could say, because you can name a variable. I think some people may do this on one line where they do a thing where they say that square equals and then some stuff here, and I don't know the I don't know how you format that. I don't know what the syntax is to make the name of a function like equal to something. So I'm going to submit that, and we're going to see if anyone's done it on one line. Square equals, okay, here it is. So square equals lambda, and then n times n. That's really funny. Oh, I see. They're continuing the script from the previous steps of this. Sure, okay. That's really funny. From NumPy import square. That's great. So they're importing a function from another library that takes the argument and returns out the correct thing. So all they have to do is import that function. Someone's written it already. That's great. What is this? Square equals 2 dot... Oh, man. Hey, Ines. It's CodeWars. So, if you missed it, because this is great, I just did a challenge that says take a number, and so it looks like this. It's a function called square, takes a number, you need to return out the squared number. Really, really simple. Obviously, you literally just return the number times itself. And I was looking at some smarter answers. So here, someone has defined square instead of using it as a function name. Obviously, square is being called by the test cases, but they're saying square is equal to this lambda, so that they can do it all in one line. But then I found this, where squaring a number is just a function in the NumPy library. So literally all they had to do was an import, which is the same as the C# using lines. So this basically just says using square, and because that function already has the correct name, and it already exists in another library, when it's getting called by the test cases, it's just returning the right value, which is really funny. But I've just seen this, and I'm wondering what this is actually doing. I'm gonna go and look this up. What is rpal? Hey, Sloth Gamer. Okay, this looks weird. Goal is what character count? Goal is just workable solution. I just thought that was a really funny solution. I don't really understand what this line is doing. It's very weird. A couple other people doing some weird things here as well. This feels like a low level. Something very strange going on. These are like inbuilt methods, but like of data types. Okay, all methods are methods of data types. They're like hidden methods. These are like properties of the data type itself. It's a very, very odd thing to use. Hey, Vivi. All right, kata complete. Let's keep going. Next, we have keep hydrated. Nathan loves cycling. Because Nathan knows it's important to stay hydrated, he drinks 0.5 litres of water per hour of cycling. You're given a time in hours. You need to return the number of litres that Nathan will drink, rounded to the smallest value. Okay, easy enough. So time is going to be a positive number. And we need to halve it, essentially. What's slightly odd is, I'm not sure whether litres can come out as... I guess litres never comes out as a decimal, even a 0.5 decimal. Because 6.7 would obviously get to like a weirder number than just a straight 0.5, but I think even a straight 0.5 is incorrect. Yeah, because 3 comes out as 1. Okay. Well, in that case, it is as simple as that, because when you convert a float to an int, it does round down. Hey, NGF. Alright, easy enough. So if anyone here has used CodeWars before, there was a question I posed earlier. Is there a way of me getting a random kata at a chosen level? I can't find how to do that. If I use the random on the home page, they can be like various levels. They're not necessarily the level that I'm at. I couldn't find a way of just picking out a random kata at a level that I've chosen. Amazing. So, if time is less than 0, they're returning, "Are you Tom Cruise?" Else, they're returning time divided by 2. Good solution. You see some wacky things in these in these solutions. Now that's a weird one. What is going on there? Some people like to joke around. This one is being square rooted by 0.5 and then square rooted by 4. Interesting. CodeWars is just a series of code challenges. They give you some specifications, they give you an input, and they tell you what output you should be expecting to give them back, and then they mark it. Oh, they're importing. Bizarre. They're importing math by writing math backwards, but then reading the string backwards, which is what this -1 is doing. And then there's also this, where they replace the first half with MA and the second half with TH. And then they take pi of that, and the 5th digit of pi. I wonder whether the dot counts there. Or not 5th, I guess, 6th. 3.141. So yeah, I guess that's the 1, the second 1 in pi. Bizarre. What a weird solution. That is someone having a lot of fun. Alright, get the mean of an array. Okay. So we're going to get some average scores. And I need to return the average of the array rounded down. It's not far off last time. So how do you get averages? You can add everything and then divide by the number of elements. I guess you could iterate through elements and divide each one as you go, and then just total them up. I think we'll just go straight forward to. So for each mark in marks, total score plus equals mark, so we'll get the total of the whole thing. And then we just return total score divided by, let's convert that to an integer. Total score divided by the number of marks that came in at the beginning. Hey, Nikita. Alright, cool, nice and easy. Hopefully we should be off 8Q pretty quickly, because these are very straightforward. Let's see if we can bang through some of them. So S is a string. Okay, in that case, can we just return s.split? But -1 indexed. Damn it. Oh wait, this is a... Oh no, hang on. Ah, right, yeah. Okay, there's my nasty one-line answer. I would not usually write it like this, but that's one way to do it. So we are taking this string, we're splitting it over spaces, which turns into a list. This reads the list backwards by taking a -1 step each time it reads an element. And then join is a method that takes a list, which is this reverse list here, and joins each element with a space in between. Doing well, Nikita. How are you doing? It looks like reversed is also a thing, which is doing a very similar job to this, presumably. In fact, that is a character-for-character exact solution that I just submitted. Oh, it's not actually. They put this into split. So this is a default value in split. If you don't write that in, it just uses it. But you can split over other things if you want to. Okay, let's keep powering through. Wonder how long it will take to get off. Okay, doing alright. Square sum. Complete the square sum function, squares each number, and then adds the result together. It's going to be very similar to last time. We'll just have a running total equal to 0 for number in numbers, total plus equals number squared, and then return total. Grinding through calculus, nasty. Let's keep on burning. Let's see if we can rocket through to 7Q here, make things a bit more interesting. Oh, okay, this looks a little more intriguing than the ones we've just done. Let's see what's going on here. If you've completed this cat already and want a bigger challenge, here's the 3D version. Okay. Bob is bored during his physics lesson, so he's built himself a toy box to help pass the time. Box is special, has the ability to change gravity. Not bad. There are some columns of toy cubes in the box arranged in a line. There are some columns of toy cubes in the box arranged in a line. Sure, okay. The ith column, yeah, contains A underscore I cubes. A underscore I, so presumably that might be formatted for a different language. I would assume in Python that means the ith index of A. At first the gravity in the box is pulling the cubes downwards. When Bob switches the gravity, it begins to pull the cubes to a certain side of the box, which can be L or R. Okay. That was an example of what the cubes might look like after switching gravity. Given the initial configuration of cubes in the box, this does not feel like an 8Q. This feels like a 7 or a 6, but certainly no harm in it. We'll be fine. Given the initial config, find out how many cubes are in each of the n columns after Bob switches the gravity. Hey Max. Are we trying to create a website? No, we're doing the Python code challenges. Okay, so to actually get how many are in each column, there's only one. It doesn't matter where they are in the row, but the top row has one box, and therefore the furthest right column will have one box. We'll solve this as though it's right every time, at least for now. So it's going to be the column position of the box minus the number of boxes in that row to get whether there's a box in that row or not. I missed one of your chats. Which one? You guys have talked a lot. Anything you'd like me to draw? Maybe some art for TGB. Nothing specifically that I can think of. You're welcome to draw something for TGB. I'll have a think. So is what's actually going on here? Oh, okay. This is maybe more simple than I'm making it. Because all that's happening is you're just sorting columns by either ascending or descending size, aren't you? Because if you have one column of 3, you're always going to have one column of 3. I suppose the one thing that would stop that being the case is if you had more boxes on the top row than the middle. That's impossible. That's not possible. So yeah, it's just sorting by ascending or descending. So if D is R, which it is in the example, I think, right? I guess that's what they would consider right. So I think you can give sorted an argument that inverts it. So we can just say if D is R, then we just sort A. And if D is L, we sort by A but invert. Yep, cool, there we go. Oh yeah, you could actually, so what these guys have done is just say that the value for the reverse argument coming in is the value of D equals L. So this will be true or false accordingly. And then they use that as the argument. That's interesting. I missed the merge sort. Merge sort sounds like a database query thing. What do you mean by merge sort? Looks like a lot of the solutions here are pretty similar. Hey there, Dev. Multiply's ticked already. Oh, this is the one that you have to do to actually be able to sign up for the site. That's right. Okay, set alarm. Right, a function named setAlarm, which receives two parameters. The first parameter, employed, is true whenever you are employed. Second parameter, vacation, is true whenever you're on vacation. Sure, okay. The function should return true if you're employed and not on vacation. Sure, yeah, okay. Oh, I guess I can actually just even say this, can't I? Would that work? I'm wondering whether there's some fun, like, bitwise thing you could do here. Or like, logic gate it. So you could do like a vacation implies employed, and if it comes up false, then you return true. I think I can do that. I like equals true for readability. It's very obvious what I'm saying if I do that, but I think that works. Yeah. I know in C# you can do this. I don't think that works. No, that doesn't work. But yeah, you don't have to say equals true. Oh, of course it is, yeah. Yeah, fair enough. So I can say not vacation. Hey there, Algren. Alright, array plus array. Oh, Dev, while you're here, do you know a way that I can randomize a kata from a given level? Because the only way I can find a random option gives me katas from like a range of levels around me, but my rule is that I'm doing katas from my level, so they'll increase as I increase. Do you know if there's a way of doing that? I even looked into the API before the stream to see if I could just pull every kata at a certain level and just select one randomly with my own script, but I cannot find a way of doing it. They don't provide that in the API. Needs coding. I want to get the sum of two arrays. Sum of all their elements. Sure, okay. Do I need parens around those arrays? No, okay. I'd still probably do this just for a bit more readability. There we go. Add the two lists together, iterate through, and increase the total. Nice and straightforward. Hey, Depressor. Okay, am I still level 8 here? No, we are level 7. There's some. Is that inbuilt? Do I import that? Is that in like NumPy? If I do oh, hang on. Okay, that's built in. Cool. All right, we're going up in the world, level 7. Maximum product, let's take a look. Given an array of integers, find the maximum product obtained from multiplying two adjacent numbers in the array. Ah, okay, that's interesting. So, is there a mathematical way to determine a maximum product from two adjacent integers without testing every product? Mathematically, how would I know, for example, that 3 times 9 beats 10 times 2? Also, does something like... So let's take two things... Because one thing you could do is 3 plus 9 is 12, 10 plus 2 is 12, but the difference between 3 times 9 is smaller, and therefore you get a higher value out. But are there cases where something that adds to 13 does that always beat something that adds to 12? No, definitely not. Because 12 times 1 is 12, adds to 13. And that's beaten by even like 5 times 5, which only adds to 10. I don't immediately see a mathematical way to determine what the highest product would be without just testing them all. I think we're going to have to just go with that. I don't see another way of doing it. I can give you the one-line version after you figure it out, unless you want to know a couple of functions that might help out. Tell you what, I'll solve it and then let me know what the function is, and I'm going to try and resolve it with that. No, neither do I. So this immediately stops me in my tracks, because I'm going to say, you know, if the product is greater than the current max product, update it with the new value. But I can't just set max product to like 0 or -1 here, because the max product could actually be a negative. So the first thing I could do would be to take the first two elements of the array and say max product equals those two multiplied. That works fine. What stops me from immediately doing that is just that it feels slightly just like hacky. Like if someone reading that would say, why are you making max product equal to the first two elements and then iterating through all the elements? So I'm trying to think if there's like a cleaner way of doing that. I could make it equal to like the non-keyword, and then in the loop check if it equals to none, update it regardless, else do a comparison. But that also feels like kind of a weird thing to do, because that feels like increasing the size of this loop unnecessarily. It's fine that they're both workable solutions. It's just I'm more considering what is good practice here. For now, I will just go ahead and say that max product is going to begin by being the product of the first two elements of the array, and then I'm going to update it with anything that ends up being bigger. So for because I'm multiplying two elements together, I need to not check either the very first or the very last index here. Otherwise I'm going to get index erroring, because I'm going to be trying to check one too many. And again, there's a couple ways around it. I could enumerate and just say if I equals 0, ignore it. In fact, yeah, let's just do that. For I and value in it's tricky in the thing that catches me on this one. It's not tricky in terms of just mechanically solving it. It's a very simple problem. It's one that trips me up on what the good practice is, because everything about it feels a little dirty. Like I have to skip one index. The max product can't just be 0 to begin with. So this kind of problem stops me in my tracks just for like what would be best practice in general in code for a problem like this. So what we'll do, if I is 0, we just skip. And then assuming that we haven't skipped, we're going to say the check product equals you know what, let's not do the enumerate thing, because it's going to be kind of weird to reference one index and one named variable. So I'm actually going to say for I in, and then we'll just do the range length thing to make this a bit more normal. So we're going to check array I times array I minus 1, which we can guarantee will be a correct index, since we're beginning, like we skip at 0 anyway. And then max product equals, I don't remember if this is from a library, but we can just say equal to whichever is bigger out of itself currently and the product that we are checking against that we have just made. And then we can return max product. I feel like I may have missed something here. I'm also not sure if this is correct. This might need to be imported from somewhere, but let's see what happens. Oh no, I think we're good. Okay, there we go. Hey, Danny. You only found out Numerate a couple of years ago. It's quite useful, actually. I've used it for a few things. So yeah, you mentioned there may be a couple variables that are gonna, sorry, functions that are gonna make this a little shorter. What have you got for me? There's the max function. Yep, we're doing that on 9 here. Oh, it does the whole list? Shit, okay. I didn't realize max would take as many arguments as you gave it. I thought it was only a 2-argument thing. That's cool, okay. So one thing that I could do then to remove this nestiness is just have a list where we append with the new product, and then just return the max of that. Okay. Cool. That shortens things up. Nice. That's good to know. Max that takes more than just two arguments is good to know. All right, triple X. Given a string, return true if the first instance of X in the string is immediately followed by 2 more X's. Okay, so let's find where the first X is. Now, there could be edge cases where, so I could just check the next 2 indexes, of course. The problem you can potentially run into is, what if the X that I'm looking at is at the very end of the string, for instance. And then I could actually run into some indexing issues. So you did the whole 1-line thing, yeah. Yeah, I find those difficult to read, so I do like splitting those lines out. I don't tend to do the on 1 line for X in Y stuff. I try and break mine up a little more. Capital X's do not count as the first occurrence of X. Sometimes there may be no X's. Okay. So, what we can do then is, if index of X is -1, which I think is what index returns if it doesn't exist, or index of x. In fact, what we can do is say if -1 is less than index of x, which is less than the length of s minus 2, 3. I'll run a test and see what happens there. Then we return false. Else instead of continuing on the first index, I got the length and subtracted 1. Ah, yeah, okay. That's fair. That's nicer, probably. Yeah. Let's put this in parens. I like my parens for mathsy things. Okay, else. Return whether those are equivalent. Ah, it's not index, is it? It's find. Find returns -1 if it doesn't exist. No, okay, let's leave that for 2 for now and just work out what's going wrong. So there are 6 tests. We're failing 3 and 5, which would be this and this. We're returning... Are we returning false for everything? We're returning false for everything. Maybe this is just wrong. The first if, so if x doesn't exist in S, find will return -1. So if there are no x's, we're going to return false. Oh, hang on. So it's that, right? I forgot to put that condition in. So if index isn't greater than -1, and then the length of S -2 isn't greater than that, in total, we should be returning false. Maybe I'm just formatting that incorrectly. Let's simplify slightly here and do what I was initially going to do. It's greater than length of S -2. I think that's -2. The fact that we're using length, but it's an index, is slightly odd. No, I'm still getting that wrong. Hang on. I should stop doing that, that's bad. Okay, is it definitely this false that we're reaching? We only reached that on the first 2. That's correct. That's correct. They are the only 2 I should reach. Okay, so this is fine, actually. It's this that isn't working. I guess let's print this. Oh, should this be +3? Because it's uninclusive. Ah. And that's never going to print, is it? Okay, it's +3. If this runs, I'm going to try reformatting the first if to what it was earlier. It's less than len s minus 2. Is this number wrong now? It doesn't look like it's happy with that, never mind. Okay, cool. I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to go turn our heating off because it's getting very warm now. I just saw that, Dev. That's actually really smart, yeah. So if the first instance of x is the same index as the first instance of xxx, the one condition you would have to edge case is if they're -1, as Algorin has just pointed out. So if they're equal and greater than -1, then yeah. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Okay. Saying goodbye to best friend. See you next happy year. Happy year is the year with only distinct digits. Oh, I see. Given a year, find the next happy year. Wait, or the closest year you'll see your best friend? I don't understand that bit. "2020 is certainly not a happy year." I don't understand what they mean by "or the close." Given a year, find the next happy year. Or the closest year you'll see your best friend. I think that's just some weirdly written flavor. I don't think that actually means anything. Hey, Rubik's. So is there anything smarter than just iterating? Because obviously you can just add 1 every time and see if all the characters are unique. I will actually say I don't immediately know how I would check for all unique characters in a string, although I have to wonder if that's just a thing. Like, does that just exist? Tell you what, actually, I can compare the characters to a set of the characters, and if they're the same length, then they would all be unique. So failing an actual function that does this for me that just exists. Yeah, it doesn't look like this exists. Okay, we'll just use a set then, probably. Hey there, Flixed. The next happy year from right now would be 2031, yeah. Are all years 4 digits? Yes, they are. It says that it's going to give me a year between 1 and 9,000. There it is. Hey, Conman. Adding 1 seems like it should work. Yeah, I guess. I'm wondering if there's anything smarter than that, anything quicker, but off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Okay. I'm gonna go for those lovely while true loops. Okay. Now a string is not a list, but it is an iterable. And I wonder if you can do a set of a string. Let's actually do a little test here. You can just take a set of a string, which is great because the length function works on both strings and sets. So, if length, actually, just to save myself a couple of string conversions, let's just say year as string equals just otherwise I'm aware that the next line is going to get very messy. If len year as string equals len of set year as string, return the year to check, else year to check this equals 1. Okay, since we're using a while true, let's get ready for it to crash. No. And we passed all but 1, that's strange. So what did we return? Is there a problem with zeros? Are zeros giving us some weirdness? So what's the year that came in here then? So we were given 1987. And that's correct, and it should just print back out. I actually thought I was accounting for that. You can check what it's passing in at the bottom. Oh, true, yeah. When it comes to the hidden tests, I don't think you can do this, so I don't always look. So 1987, okay, so what happens here? Yeah, as string, 1987 as string. Oh, I see. 1987 is incorrect. So you can't, if it is a happy year, you don't reprint it. Well, in that case. All right, nice. I was thinking if the happy year got passed in, I would just give it back out, but it was looking for the next one. So yeah, just a case of moving the +1. Okay, function of integers on a Cartesian plane. Consider integer coordinates x, y in the Cartesian plan and 3 functions f, g, h defined by f is 1 less than or equal to x less than or equal to n. Is n just an undefined large number? So it just means that where x and y are positive. I mean, this seems very straightforward. It's given as an integer. The value of the function f with n equals 6. Task is to calculate the sum. Oh, okay, there's more going on then. Okay, hang on. The task is to calculate the sum. So in the table below you can see the value of the function f with n equals 6. So f would be minimum. What can you label your axes, please? Which one's which? I guess it just doesn't matter. Oh, it just doesn't matter. Yeah, of course. Because f is taking the minimum value. Sure, okay. So out of 3 and 6, minimum is 3. The task is to calculate the sum of f, g, and h of x, y for all integers x and y. Oh, n is what they're passing in. Yeah, of course, right. Silly's in the dungeon division. Sum in. Take n as a parameter and return the sum of min x in the domain. So these don't interact with one another. Because when they said sum of x, g, and h, I thought I was like adding them all together. Okay, so it's pretty simple, really. As far as I can tell, unless I'm reading this wrong. For I in range 1 n plus 1. Plus equals minimum. I'm confusing myself now. Where are x and y coming from if I'm given the number n? It's just all of them. It's just all of them in both axes, isn't it? So I'm iterating through x and y increasing to a point. I mean, I don't know if it's not in the spirit of it, but there are other ways of doing this. Would it not be? I mean, so this obviously this can just be done by looping x and y nested. But it feels like there is just like a one-line solution. Is text tiny? Can I zoom in? I can do a page zoom in. That's not great. Are there any settings? Oops. Well, I don't know how to get that top bar back. Whoops. You think the sum would just be n times n plus 1? Okay, we'll get there. Okay, if we were just iterating x and y, is it? I was going to say it's triangular values. It's not triangular values. I guess we'll just nest it then. I guess we'll just nest it. We'll do it normally. We won't try and hack it. Okay, so for I don't need to be doing that. For I in range 1 n plus 1. Actually, let's call that x. That would make more sense. And then we just say for y in range 1 and n plus 1. Total plus equals min x and y. Oops. Return total. Max is almost identical. And then what does sum come out as? What are you asking for? It's just x plus y, sure. Have I infinite looped here? I have. How did I manage that? Is range exclusive or inclusive on the second? Exclusive, hence the +1. Because yeah, you'd run into problems if if you tried to do a range 1 from 1 to 0, I'd be getting shouted at. Actually, I don't know if I would. I think the range would just count backwards. So I think as far as the way the tests work, we are losing on the first one because we're not getting any prints. So if I just run test here. Oh, no, okay, that's not how it works. So if execution fails, I don't get the prints from the other tests, it looks like. So the problem is in sum. It is a triangular numbers thing? Some x, some y. Those are n times the nth triangular number. Yeah, if there was anything going on with triangular numbers there, I couldn't properly, I couldn't see it happening in my head. Oh, hang on. 1, 2, 4. No. Well, that's not triangular. There's 1, 2, 4, 6. We should be expecting 1, 3, 6 if it's triangular. Triangular numbers are similar to square numbers, except instead of drawing out a square with each iteration, the next biggest square, you're drawing out the next biggest triangle. So it's like how the 10-pin bowling structure. So you begin with 1, and then 3, and then 6, and then 10, and then 15, going down like that in a triangle. So it's adding 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. There's definitely a sneaky O brackets 1 way to do sum n and sum x. I don't know what that means. Although right now I'm more concerned with this infinitely looping. Some sum should just be n times n plus 1. Oh, okay, that seemed like it was a server error. That wasn't my code. Sure, we can also do that. Let's give that a go, that's kind of fun. Okay, these timeouts I don't think are me. I think this is the website. O, meaning you can calculate it without any loops. So by O1, does that just mean like one iteration, one run without going back on itself? Is that what that means? Like it's a top level without going down into any branches? What does the O stand for in that then? Oh, I am timing out. Okay. I'm timing out, but not on the example tests. That's the problem. Hey, Menno. Ah, okay. I see what you mean. It's like order. It's like first order. Is that what the O means, actually? Does it mean order? I've never seen big O notation, but it reminds me of something in chemistry, and I forget what the actual. It might be first order reactions, but there are reactions where, like, as you increase one of the factors that speeds up the reaction. So if you increase temperature, some reactions will like increase linearly, some will increase exponentially, and I think they're called orders. I think that's a first order and a second order reaction. I might be misremembering that there. Runtime scales depending on n. I see what you're saying. Yeah, so every time n increases, my program takes exponentially longer to run because there's a nested loop. Intriguing. Yeah, okay, that's really interesting. So I don't think, I mean, it's possible. I don't know if I'm timing out just because this is too inefficient, or whether I'm timing out because I am actually stuck in a loop. It is timing out, yeah. So these normal tests work. And then a bigger test does not work. What was the quadratically, not exponentially? Maybe I am misunderstanding what exponentially means then, because I thought quadratically was a kind of exponentially. Does exponentially mean specifically using that e value to multiply? I thought exponentially just meant curving upwards. Maybe that's the more colloquial use of the word as opposed to the mathematical use. Try adding a test with a big N. I could. I don't know what value should be coming out of that. But what I can always do is just is let my code run 1 and see what value it thinks should come out. So let's just run 100. We'll print our own total. It's not bad. It's half a second for 100. It should be 338, 350. I mean, I say that's not bad. If it runs for 12 seconds, that means it can only pass 24 tests. Maybe it is just timing out. Exponentially would be O2 to the n, where I have n to the 2. Okay. Exponential would be if increasing n by 1 made the code take twice as long to run, or by any scale factor. That's what I thought was happening. This is too much maths for 10 p.m. I see the distinction. I can't make the connection in my head as to why it's one and not the other. In theory, I can see the difference between n to the 2 and 2 to the n. What happens if we attempt? Do we get all of the prints that happen before it times out? We don't. That's really annoying. I want it to give me the prints for tests that it does before the timeout. Do we need to just make this more efficient then? Because what I can't tell here is this an efficiency problem, or is my code actually just failing when n is like a certain value? What happens if I run n1? It does run. Okay, wait, hang on. And that took 670 milliseconds? So that half a second time actually seems to be including like it talking to the server, which means the execution time on the 100 was very low. What happens if I do 1,000? Yeah, that's actually now only hitting 1 second. It's not bad then. If I increase to 2,000, it's now taking 2 seconds. Yeah, okay. So maybe there was just a 10,000 in those tests somewhere. How to make it more efficient without a math hack? I don't know. Like, if you're following to the letter of the instructions, this is the most efficient thing you can do, right? All I'm doing is iterating x and y and running a very simple function and keeping a total. So I think you have to do something that isn't nested checks. Hint, try to avoid nested loops. Fair enough. Note that h equals f plus g. So I guess it's saying you can actually call this function and this function to get a total. That's fair, yeah. It's poorly written exercise if it has a limit on runtime without stating the limit. Kind of. The limit is not imposed by the person who created the exercise, though, I will say that. So the 12 seconds timeout is imposed by CodeWars themselves, whereas the person who has written the test is just a CodeWars user. I suppose it might have been nice if they said, bear in mind, like if you use nested loops, you're going to time out. But yeah, it's not like they included their own sneaky time limit and didn't tell me. They are peer contributed exercises, yes. So you can go and just make your own if you want to. So the total, if n equals 1, the total is 1. If n equals 2, 3, 4, 5, we have 5. If n equals 3, Yeah, so I could calculate just the triangle over the axis and then double it. And then add the diagonal in. It feels like a patchwork solution. Isn't it 1 plus 1 plus 4, 1 plus 9? Oh, I see. So this like L shape are the triangular numbers. Yeah, that's where it is. I knew I was seeing a triangular number pattern in there somewhere. So it's not just the triangular value. It's the triangular value plus all triangular values before that point. Is there a triangular number library? Nope, that's just someone making their own. So I only need one loop. Wouldn't there still be two loops though? Because let's say that n is 3. For each value in 3, I have to then... Oh no, I don't have to loop through the values below it. I just take the average plus half of itself. Is that right? How do you... What's the formula for getting the triangular number? So the triangular number for 9 is 1. It's 1 plus... 9's not a triangular number. 10. It's 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Nth triangular number is n times n plus 1 over 2. Okay, sure. Let's use that. So 4x in this range total equals plus equals that, which is the triangular number value. I'm going to have to do that because this isn't maths. Wait. That's what I meant to do. Okay, does that actually work? Let's test it. Nope. Oh, is that just because my thing is wrong though? $35 should equal 55. I'm like just over half of the correct values. So what's wrong? If this was 2, one times 2 over 2 is 1, and then 2 times 6 is 3. Yeah, if that was 3, 3 times 4 is 12. That's 6. This does appear to be working for triangular numbers. It feels like we're like one off. I don't understand why that would fix it, but it might. No. Okay, no, there is a different problem. It's not total equals... that's an annoying comment, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, but each row is not... Okay, so here's the thing. Each row... Oh, this is still a nest... No, this does end up still being a nested loop. Because if you have... 3... No, this is what we're accounting for. Hang about. Is it actually this? This might be wildly off. Okay, that's wildly off. This is not, by the way, a 7Q kata. This is way harder. It's a sum of squares. 1, 4. Of course it is. Yeah, sorry. That's dumb. Do you get the square numbers then by adding up all the previous triangular numbers? Because that's what I thought was going on. Wow, yeah, sorry, my bad. Okay, what does this table look like then when it's max? It would be 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, right? 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Which is 1, 6, 15. Are those numbers coming from anywhere? It's n times n plus 1, isn't it? No, it's not. It's n times n doubled minus 1. The sliver is... She equals n squared. So yeah, sorry, yeah, you're still talking about the last one, aren't you? So on this one, total plus equals x multiplied by, and then it's x times 2 minus 1. Is that right? Hey, nice, I got one. And then sum is that. Okay, let's try that. Hey, we did it. Nice. Okay. That was a good lesson in O notation. So thank you, chat. I've never seen that before. And I will be more aware of that while coding as well, that nested loops cause either exponentially or quadratically increasing processing time. Cool. Thank you for the help on that one, folks. Yeah, I learned stuff today, which is what I was here to do. Nice one. That feels like a nice note to end as well. Also, because I've been streaming nearly 2 hours, and that was a tough one, and I learned some stuff. So thank you for watching, folks. Hopefully people liked it. Seemed like some people were enjoying it and enjoying taking part. So maybe I'll run this again at some point. And we'll continue from this point and see how high up in the keta ranks we can reach. I'm also just looking for other things to do on streams right now, because I really enjoyed... I've done a couple like challenge runs, like well-defined, difficult, unique challenge runs in my time. And they're very hard to come by. And I feel like I've been lacking one for months now. Hey, Short Circuit. So, on this channel I did the Subnautica No Breaching challenge run, and I loved it. That is exactly the kind of challenge run I'm looking for. I also did, on my previous channel, I did the Talos Principle Breaking Every Puzzle. I don't know if there's any way of actually really reaching that from this channel. So I don't know if anyone has actually seen this, but if you're curious, I made this series on a different channel many years ago, where I break all the Talos Principle puzzles. I really like those kinds of challenges. I ran a D10 challenge for Dark Souls, which I probably won't make a stream out of, but playing Dark Souls where every time you pick up equipment you roll a 10-sided die and you only keep it if you roll a 10 or a 0. That was a really fun challenge. So yeah, I've been lacking just a really interesting and unique and difficult, and maybe even slightly requiring breakage of the game challenge run for a while. I tried to do a floor is lava challenge and I couldn't find a game that it worked with. I attempted it with Just Cause, just never touch the floor while you're playing, and the game just doesn't allow for it. There are moments where you, as far as I can tell, you have to touch the floor. It's also a little bit iffy what you define touching the floor, because if there's like a castle and you stand on the castle, is that touching the floor? So a few weirdness bits like that about what you would consider floor. But yeah, like a floor is lava challenge would be sick if I could find a game that it worked for, and I haven't yet. I really want to do the Breachless challenge on Subnautica Below Zero when it comes out, but it's still not in complete release yet. I really want another cool challenge run. So if anyone has suggestions for those, by all means let me know, because I have been lacking my next really fun, interesting challenge run for like a year now. But yeah, thank you for watching this one, guys, and I will probably catch you all over the weekend sometime. I'm sure there'll be some streams going on. I'll see you all then. Bye bye.